Greets peeps, this is Tony the Hero of Flanders, talking you through Europa Universalis 4. Last video we spoke about how we get our monarch points that we want to spend on our technology. This time we're going to actually talk about spending them. So the first thing that we'll do, I wanted to show you through maximizing the amount of money you get from demanding support from your estates. We need to get this up to 75, this up to 75, and this up to 75. So what we'll do, we can recruit a minister from the clergy that will increase their influence by 15%, and then we can seek demand of the clergy, seek support of the clergy that will give another 10%. So between seeking support loses prestige and legitimacy. I don't much mind about that at the moment. There's other things that we'll do to offset that. If we recruit a minister, that puts us up to 75. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so the minister that we want to recruit is going to be cheaper for us to employ as well. So my purchasing of this chap was probably a bit premature because we might be replacing him immediately. But we'll have a look. The cost might be a bit too much. Even though it's the cost is reduced by 50%, it's still a sizable expense that we probably don't need at this point. I'm actually umming and ahhing over that. 50% cheaper would be 2 point... Yeah, so this is what... Oh, sorry, that's a skill 2. He'd be 1. He'd cost us 1 per turn. This chap costs us 0.5 per turn for an extra monarch point. Probably don't need it at the moment. We've got other things we can spend our money on. So what we'll do instead is we will send an emissary to the Pope. That won't allow us to have a new cheap minister, but we'll be able to use those options later on. Those options only happen every 30 years, so you want to share those ministers out. Those bonuses that they give you are really nice to your income. So let's do this instead. We'll send an emissary to the Pope. We're up at 71 now. We need 75 to hit that 150 admin power option. So what we can do is we're going to go to a state that has this one has no estate currently. We'll go to this province and we will click on estates. We will scroll over here. By adding this by adding the clergy as the estate in this area, they will give us bonuses that we'll go into later, but they'll also push up our influence to 80%. Now you'll notice that when we go back into this area, into the estates area, that's now red. When any of these hit 80%, they begin taking over the country. That is a real problem, but what we'll do in the meantime is we'll reduce their loyalty, which is also a problem. If their loyalty goes too low, you lose bonuses, but we need those sweet admin points. So we're going to demand that. That's now going to give us 150 because we went over 75% influence, and taking that, seeking that support reduced their loyalty to us by some margin, but it didn't reduce our influence. We now need to reduce our influence by taking land off them. Taking land off them will reduce their loyalty, but not as much as but it's not as much of a problem as there having too much influence. So let's reduce. Okay, we can't reduce that because when the game starts they've only just been assigned these things. We need to wait for a year before we can reduce this, so we're going to investigate the mechanics of giving your clergy too much, giving your estates too much influence. That'll be fun. It should be fun. So what we can see on here is because we sought support, because we sent an emissary to the Pope, their influence will remain. They'll get a 10% bonus to their influence until 1464. We'll talk about that when we're dealing with the what are they called? With the disasters, the gently named disasters. In the meantime, let's go through getting some more estates doled out to these guys. Well, let's get their influence up. We can call a diet. That's going to reduce our prestige more. Yuck, we're now in negative prestige. That's not a good thing, but we'll talk about that later. Recruiting a minister. Yep. And they're still just shy of that vital 73%. I could grant them a generalship, which would increase their influence by 20, but then we'd go way over and would be in that same situation that we are with the clergy. So let's have a look if we can grant some land to them instead. If we grant that to them, their influence is going to go up to 85. They already control that and that. What about if we grant that one to them? I'm going to... How much is that? That's 3, that's 3. It doesn't really matter which way I go. Let's go this way, it's slightly lower. There's advantages to giving your nobles forts as well. We're going to be in the same situation here. We're over the top for them as well, so we'll definitely be investigating that in the near future. We do get 150 sweet military points though. That's cool. And now we've only got the burghers to try to get on board. We're going to lose more prestige to increase their influence, which will allow us to then recruit a minister through them. Yeah, this is the only option. Grant that. Oh, their influence is still too little. Okay, let's grant them a province. This might be a problem. We may not be able to hit 75 for these lot. Recruit a minister. Yeah, unfortunately, they're only at 66 and there's nothing we can do about it. We haven't got any more provinces to give them. I should have thought about this earlier. I should have examined that earlier. Because we can't take away any of these provinces from anyone else to give them. Ordinarily, that's what I would do. But I can't do it here, where I'm going to play this game through properly, so I will do this. I like them all on the same timetable. It's a lot easier and a lot harder to forget, because the modifiers disappear at the same time. Should I, or do I wait? If I waited until I can remove one of these provinces, if I waited until next year to remove one of these provinces from the other estates, which I'll definitely need to do, I could then grant it to the bourgeois. We'd be able to get that up to the magical 75% and demand diplomatic support then. So that's what I'll do, I think. I think that makes more sense. In the meantime, I'm going to ask them for contributions, because money is good. That reduces their loyalty to 65, but that's fine. So, while we're here, we won't actually be discussing spending military points in this one. We'll be discussing the estates. What happens when your estates go below 40% loyalty or above 60% loyalty is you get bonuses and negatives. At the moment, these ones are over 60%, so we can see that we get an extra bonus here of development cost. So we can now spend those points that we just picked up to develop our own lands, to make them better, and it will cost us 10% less than it ordinarily would. If we have a look at one of these lands, actually this could be a good way to bump up our influence immediately. It's a bit of an expensive way to do it, but it's not the worst. Okay, so what we can see here is because our burgers are friendly to us, are super loyal to us, we get a negative 10% bonus, a negative 10% reduction to the cost of how much it costs to improve this area. They also control the area, so when we increase the development of the place, their influence goes up. We'll go quickly back to another map mode. So we can upgrade that place and that place, and it will increase the influence that the bourgeois have. This place is 14 development, this place is 15, but because of the different types of land, they cost more to increase. You can see the cost to improve the province, the region, province, is increased by this being hills. So it gets it gets an increase to the cost because of it being hilly and because of there being previous development there. We get the development Nagus here as well, but we also don't have any hills, so let's do our development here. This is an unwise, it's not something that I'd normally do, but let's do it anyway. So at the moment we've got 66% influence. Let's click here. Doesn't tell us how much the influence will increase, but hey, that's fine. In theory, I have a feeling this number doesn't recalculate until you click to the next day. So let's just spend... We need 90 to do something else that will come into the next video. So 57, exactly right. Okay. That was the wrong state. God damn. Bummer. Alright, in the meantime we can do 2 of these just? No, we can't quite. Poop. But next month we can do 1, and we can do 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. And we'll let a day tick over. That is not right to me. It's possible that it changes at the end of the month. It's been a long time since I've done this. Interesting. So this wasn't exactly to plan, but hey. No, they still only give us... Okay. Let's speed up time. There's nothing else I particularly need to do in this game anyway. No, we'll revisit this shortly. These are... messing with estates has already caused us some interesting situations, with both of these being set to rebel and take over the country. So we'll round this video up here. That was estates, so you increase your loyalty and your influence by granting the estates control of your territories. You can also do little tricky tricks in here to increase their influence, to increase your papal influence, to get you free points, to get you free or cheaper users, and cheaper advisors, and you can do various different things with them. You can get generals out of the nobility. You can get levies out of the nobility. That's not a bad idea. Yep, we'll do this as well. That will automatically increase. When it's below 50, it'll increase towards 50. When it's above 50, it'll decrease towards 50. So let's get them automatically increasing. There's no point having these above 50 if there's a way that you can spend those loyalty points. We're going to be taking land off the nobility very soon, so that'll make for an interesting situation. And we've already gotten money from them. Yeah, we've done everything we can with them for the moment. Oh, so they're at 72 now, so we're just shy of the amount that we want. We'll have a look at that in the next video. Yeah, these increase up or down towards 50, and I believe that was everything I wanted to explain about them. Oh, they do have effects on your territories as well. We'll explain that when I come to explaining the provinces in the very next video. Thank you for your view, and I'll be back soon.